he thought if he finds it, he will know it. He couldn't manage, and he ended up working out the end of the world, the date of the end of the world, which is, of course, complete nonsense. I mean, he wasted his professional, mature years on such nonsense, you know, unbelievable, because he didn't know what he was looking for. There's a Swedish sage called Swedenborg who followed Isaac Newton. He was the same category of scientist. He was a metallurgist and so on. And he had a crisis at the age of 40. He suddenly chucked in all his science, and he said he's going to do nothing else but study the Old Testament secrets. And he has even sort of famous work called Arcana Caelestia, the Heavenly Secrets, which you can find, sort of, it's published, you know, translated at the Swedenborg Society in London, down the road from here. So in other words, Swedenborg was also absolutely convinced that there are secrets in the Old Testament, and he was determined to work them out. Once again, ended up with nonsense. Right, so what I wanted to tell you, therefore, that I'm not alone in thinking that there is, therefore, the greatest secret buried there in terms of the first piece of land. Now, to understand this, again, I'm trying to define for you the methodology. I define a concept called, it sounds a bit difficult, but it is quite clear. I call it the performative reversal. In esoteric knowledge, and remember, therefore, I mean in scientific terms, knowledge which is deliberately obfuscated by people who know better, so that the ordinary people do not understand it. Now, therefore, to clean up through this junk, my methodology is first and foremost to grasp at the nettle of what I call performative reversal, which, put it simpler, means the truth, as this was one of the tricks of the ruling priestly classes. The truth is couched exactly in its opposite, in its dialectical opposite. And to answer, therefore, the question about the first piece of land, the greatest document we forget is the Noah's story. Now, what is the flood story? The flood story is about the sinking of the earth. Now, if you take the performative reversal of this, you will see that the story is actually about the appearance of the first piece of earth. Therefore, here is the first important scientific secret, which is that the Ararat Mountains, where Noah's Ark stopped, are in fact the very first pieces of earth and land which show their peaks through the oceans. And the description of the flood is in fact an ornamental, or rather reversal, of the true volcanic eruptions which happened. Now, that earth is made through volcanoes is not controversial. It's an absolutely proven scientific fact. So the point is, therefore, that all the 40 days of rain is actually 40 days of volcanic ash being spewed out from under the oceans through the Ararat Mountains, being built up gradually, and gradually the Ararat Mountains building up the earth around it. Now we're back into kosher science. This is absolutely non-controversial. The fact is that the earth is made by volcanic eruptions through the sea, under the sea, from the sea. And so what is therefore very important to understand is that the twin peaks of the Ararat Mountains, which harbor therefore the Noah's Ark, etc., has nothing to do with it. I want you to imagine the indescribable, I mean, we are right at the beginning, like the Big Bang, sort of like the Big Bang. We are right at the beginning of the creation of the first piece of earth. And it is unimaginable, the force, the power, the incredible volcanic it is simply unimaginable what is happening. I mean, like the force and the power of the volcanic under-oceanic eruption is so immense. The tsunamis, the everything which follow it, is so indescribably immense and powerful that even the Noah's story cannot do justice to it. I mean, 40 days of rain and so on, it is very scary and frightening, etc. But 100-fold, 1,000-fold of that is actually happening under the oceans, building up the first mountains, from the first mountains, therefore, the first piece of land. And it is therefore precisely this, that the very first piece of land is not only therefore, first it is the Ararat Mountains, and then the continuation of the volcanic eruption for the foreseeable future, building up the Anatolian highlands. And it is this, therefore, the first piece of land. It is the Anatolian highlands where all life arises, where everything else arises. Naturally, life, human life, culture, language, everything else follows this. In other words, I'm trying to show you how this is the beginning of all knowledge, that all knowledge follows this understanding of this huge fact, scientific fact, that through the oceanic, unimaginable eruptions of volcanic power and force, therefore, Anatolian highlands were formed, and Anatolian highlands are the very first piece of land. Now, here is another sort of equivalent but slightly different kind of secret, the Noah's Ark. You see, in Noah's Ark, people, still American astronauts and so on, try to find it. They find pieces of wood and they get excited about it. The Noah's Ark is a huge scientific metaphor. It has nothing to do with an actual ark, which people then try to calculate in terms of the tar needed, and they fantasize about technological super aliens, etc. The Anatolian highlands, as highlands, are unique geographically. It is a kind of flat, not flat, but it is, the highlands are built on top of mountains, so that what you get is, this is what I want to show you, the whole of the Anatolian highlands is actually the ark. And this is very, very simple to show you in terms of its stylized form. You have the ocean here, you have the mountains, and on top of the mountains you have the highlands. So what you get is, therefore, there is the ocean again. So what you get is, as you can see, a stylized ark. So the ark, the Anatolian highlands itself is the Ark of Noah, which therefore contains all life. You don't need, therefore, to fantasize and say there are, alien forces where, you have every animal, every pair of it, etc. It is true if you understand that it is the whole of the Anatolian highlands. In other words, the Anatolian highlands is where all life arose, all life, plant, animal, etc.,
is there, just like